Educated. Yeah.
I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin. Today I'm joined here with Kareem Attar, former BD of Unix Gaming, the man that knows everything about crypto gaming, or so they say. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's great to be here. What's going on, everybody? Colin, how you doing, man? Well,
I'm good. We busy?
how's your stay in Dubai so far?
Great. Well, because we see each other
Yeah.
almost every day, but
Yeah.
we have different crypto things going on. It's massive. The opportunities here are great. And of course, the crypto gaming, although we're in a bearish market, it's still very much alive, right? We see the projects building. We see them trying to raise
Definitely.
funds. Everything is more difficult, but also makes it more exciting because ultimately the real question is, I speak with a lot of games. Investors are looking for good opportunities, and you look at things from a different perspective. Could you give us like a brief
Right.
summary of your gaming background? Because that is obviously quite significant here.
Yeah. So it's not brief. But wow, dude, this filter, like
Looks good on you.
the worst grill. This isn't real. This is a filter. I swear to God. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. So it's not brief. I've pretty much been gaming since before I could walk. Like, to be honest. So I've always had a very, very keen interest in the gaming industry. I'm just a nerd, right? Growing up, I played all kinds of video games competitively as well. When I was in Canada, I was playing for the League of Legends York team, um, the tier 2 team. I was the ADC main back in the day when
We
Lucian
don't
was
know what that
strong.
means, but
Yeah,
League of
nobody's
Legends,
in.
we know.
Yeah, yeah, League of Legends. So no, man, this grill thing is really distracting. Sorry. Uh, yeah, no. So I've been playing video games for a while. Then I got picked up by Unix as to run also their to help run their esports as well as do some BD partnerships, etc. So I'm also very very like I read a lot about the gaming industry as a whole, not just crypto gaming.
Mm,
And the one thing I noticed, which probably is the most relevant situation here, is the mindset differences between people like me and people like you when we're looking for a game, right? Because you're looking at what is going to give me a good return. I'm looking
obviously.
at what is going to keep my attention and everyone else's attention. And I think that the one biggest mistake that's been the biggest error that's been happening in Web3 gaming and in crypto gaming is that nobody seems to realize that we are both looking for the same thing. Just it's just two sides of the coin, but
Mm,
everybody's been treating it as two separate coins. You're looking for a return on investment. I'm looking for fun. Those are the same thing. Like if a game is fun, if it's a good game, no matter what, you will get your
mm.
ROI and then some.
So would you
But
say ultimately things that we've seen before with like Axie Infinity, which had a good base, had a
for
strong
sure,
start, maybe the focus was too much on the gain and too little on the
absolutely.
gameplay, and then it became, what was it called? Scholar grinding, ultimately, to deplete the resources solely focused on the ROI and not as much on the gameplay. Because I never watched what the game is, but basically you log in, you do some chores, and then you log out, and there's not actually a game you could play.
Yeah, there was like it was very little. It's very much like an auto battler, and like I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those kind of games where you kind of just strategy games are popular. Games like Axie are popular, but the problem that I found with Axie is while they did really really well financially, there is a reason that there was a huge fall off with them and all other crypto games, and it's not just the bear market, right? It's because
Sure.
you're like Axie especially they built the game, and their biggest highlight was play to earn. So all of a sudden you have shifted the entire purpose of playing your game to earn. And that works for, places like, where the dollar is a lot stronger than the currency, places like the Philippines, where the average income is quite low, Vietnam, Indonesia, where they have a weak currency and a developing economy. So, the dollar there is a lot more than a dollar here or anywhere
Sure, they
else.
can make
So
like a comfortable living just by
right,
logging in for
exactly.
like half an hour a day.
Precise, yeah, you could, like, at the time when SLP was a lot higher than it is, you could easily, grind out $500, $1,000 a month. My numbers might not be exact, but at one point you could
Yeah,
you could
makes
have been
sense.
making quite a bit of
Let
money.
me ask you this hypothesis, yeah? From a game company point of view, right?
Right.
I would say as pioneers, in the play to earn space, right? Because everybody now knows that play to earn as that model doesn't work because of what they have committed and what they've done. So they did add a lot of value to the industry. But the developers and the owners of Axie Infinity, they did great from a business point of view. They raked in, what is it, like probably like $2 billion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, maybe it's 400
lot.
million, but it's at least hundreds of millions that they made, right? Developing the Ronin chain, everything around it. So I would say it was a failure in terms of longevity, but like maybe business-wise, it was great. Now, when I see all these auto battlers, the way you phrased it, like we know small ones like Nineko, I think. Well, there's like a half a dozen more. Yeah,
there's more than like there's Defina.
When I see these games, I'm like, and the roadmaps as well. I'm like, it only takes like 6 months to develop a game like this, right? Probably it's like a pre-built thing, and they just customize it with the skins and the theme and everything. So, is it the pressure of the investors wanting their return that the go-to market is so short that they feel like they're forced to make something like this? Because I saw a demo of Godzilla, the first game that they're making. I don't know what it's called. The demo of Shrapnel,
OT something.
the demo of Delicium, right? These are games with like a 2 to 6 year roadmap. There's 250 developers on these projects. It's massive, right? But they look like fucking Call of Duty games, right? They look like an actual game. So when somebody pitches me a game or like, yeah, we have a metaverse. So I was at Virtua the other day, right? From like a portfolio company, Vessel 2. They showed me the metaverse, and I'm like, but this is nothing from what I've seen before in terms of metaverse. This is an actual, well, for me, metaverse is just a game, right? Like an open world thing. But you could walk around, you could see things, you can touch things. You have the house. I hate it when they sell like NFTs as houses, and it's just a room. You're just in a lobby, basically. You just look around. It's like, oh, but you can hang up your art. I don't give a fuck about that. No gamer logs in, just look at their NFTs. I can look at my NFTs on OpenSea.
Yeah, I'll be honest. If you really wanted that, it already exists. It's called Second Life, and it's been around for 20 years. Check it out.
Is it like a Steam game?
No. Just www.secondlife.com. I think there's a client download. I think you can also play it in browser. It's been a metaverse for 20 plus years. Like,
but I would say like the metaverse, how I envision it, at least what other people tell me, because I don't give a fuck about this whole metaverse thing, right? But I think it's cool from a utility point of view. So when I was at Virtua, they had like they showed me like the options they have in the metaverse. So it's like, you're here, this is the map, you can go there, and then there's like basically it's like a Steam world where you can play a first-person shooter, a racing game, but all in the same world, all in the same economy. I'm like, okay, here we're getting somewhere.
Yep.
They've been developing this since 2017. Right. So now these metaverses are coming out, like Sandbox. I know Sandbox is huge. They have a lot of huge partnerships, but that's fucking Minecraft on Web3, right? Looks fucking shit. I understand that kids play it and whatever. Decentraland was the most disappointing thing that I've seen. I'm like, this is just.
I'll be honest. I really like the golf, the putt golf on Decentraland, but that's as far as it got for me.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't even played anything. I was just someone showed me like walking around there, and I was like, this is a low quality GTA with no weapons. Right? That's what it felt like. And I'm man, if these companies, their token valuations are like 20 billion, right? That should portray relative to the game that they provide. It's something we had a discussion about the other day. Right. Yeah. Ultimately, the market cap of the token should be represented in the value and active users of the game. But there's such a big discrepancy, which ultimately in digital finance, we would call a bubble. Right. Because there's no relative value between the two assets. Right. It's just too off. What do you think about, let's pull it a little bit more on the investor side for this, just to see where your thoughts are. So a game studio, usually it's a game studio at the top, and then develop different games. What would say makes the most sense? Put the token on the game studio, so to be utilized in all games, or do a different token per game?
So the way I think it should work, at least, and also like in Web3, you're right, it is studio at the top, but in the traditional gaming industry, there is a studio that are at the top in terms of they're creating the game. But there is a level above them, and those are the money men, the investors, the publishers, most of the time, people like Ubisoft. So, Ubisoft, everybody thinks, oh, Ubisoft is a game developer. No, Ubisoft is a publisher. Ubisoft Montreal is one of the development studios, but Ubisoft is a publisher developer. But Ubisoft Montreal has a whole set of creative people, incredible people. They made Assassin's Creed, and they've been making Assassin's Creed, and their games are incredible. But then Ubisoft comes in, and then Far Cry 3, another masterpiece example from Ubisoft games. But then oh, this was really good. Let's do the exact same thing every year for the next 8 years. Like, no, what? Stop, guys, please. You did it really well the first time. Just find something new. You don't have to pop a new game out every year. I played Far Cry 3 for 3 years.
But that's the money part, probably, right? And hence my question.
If you do it wrong.
Yeah.
But see, now I'm going to give you the evidence that that's not the money part. League of Legends, they made that game 12, 13, maybe 14 years ago. Still raking in hundreds of millions a year, if not billions. GTA 5, originally it's just GTA. It's a single player experience. Then GTA Online came, and that game rakes in, I think, close to 2 to 4 billion a year, around somewhere around that. GTA Online was so successful that they did not even bother like talking about GTA 6 for almost an entire
It's
decade.
free now. GTA, I've played it many times.
GTA Online is free,
and you got like the DLCs and the coins and shit, and that's again the whole
and that's
new
what people
wave.
spend their money on, right?
Yeah,
that's
like
what people
the
want to
FIFA
spend their money on.
points, the cut points. It's like the new free-to-play. Well, FIFA obviously not. FIFA is losing their thing as well, right?
I think EA and FIFA ended their partnership.
Yeah, sad. Okay, back to my question. So
the way
on
that
the studios, because the money.
So the word that you're looking for, this kind of business model, is called games as a service. Yeah. So do I think that these studios are feeling pressure to put their games out too early? I would say yes if we were talking about
hang on,
games.
mate. That wasn't the question. Okay, back to my question.
Okay, wait. What was the question?
Focus on the crypto, yeah?
Yeah.
In crypto, let's simplify. There's a studio
in Web3
that is owned by the developers, right?
Yeah.
And they make games.
Yeah.
So I can name you 4 or 5 examples, but I rather wouldn't, because I have a lot of complaints on the setup that they do.
Yeah.
So development company, the studio, releases a game, releases another game. Let's say a indie game, medieval game, and then a metaverse type shit. So three assets that they have. Would you put the token, the governance token, on the studio, or would you do a separate token or dual token models per game?
I would do a governance token for the studio, and then, and I mean, like, here, I'm not the most investor savvy, finance savvy person, but in my head, I'd have a governance token, and that governance token would simply act only as shares, like as if you would in another company, not something to earn in the game. This governance token is for you to invest in the
so if the governance token is on the studio, then the utility token, there's a separate dual token per game.
Yeah, I would 100% have a dual token. Whether I would use a utility token, one utility token for all of the games under it, or one for each game, remains.
I think it doesn't matter that much.
No, it probably doesn't, to be honest.
If it's like inflationary. But let me ask you this:
it's always
why do you think? Why do you think each game the studio would propose to have its own governance token?
Because a governance token is exactly what it is, right? It's a governance token. It's, I want to have a say in what you guys do. That's what a governance token is to me.
That's a good gaming perspective,
right? For me, that's what a governance. Yeah, but like, it's a governance token. I have a vote. Like, that isn't that the whole point?
So what if I told you this? Yeah, each of the assets is worth 10 million, right?
Okay.
So on the studio, they would have to raise 40 million, right? Or they could raise 4 times 10 million, which is a lot easier. So ultimately, if you raise, let's say you do your first game, right? You have to release the token. So then they raise 10 million on the studio, right? On the token, you can only raise once on the token. So the next one, they would have to raise equity, which you don't want to dilute your shares. So the second game you bring, the company doesn't gain additional valuation on the token based off that. So what they do is they do a governance token on each of the games, which ultimately is a fucking cash grab. That's what it is.
But that's exactly my point.
That's what we would say from an investor point of view. Ultimately, if I would buy a game studio, which I've been looking at, I think it's quite interesting, then I would definitely do the governance token per game, because I'm just in it for the fucking money. I don't give a fuck about I want a good game. I want a good gameplay, but I know that, thank you. I know
That's fair.
that
No, that's very fair.
it would take like what I've seen, right? It will probably take to develop a good game. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing some numbers around, but I wouldn't develop a game for less than, I think, 6 to 8 million, something like this. You know, when I see these companies
I'll be honest, 68
raise,
million wouldn't even pay for a trailer in a AAA
yeah,
game. That
yeah.
wouldn't even pay for
No,
the trailer.
I wouldn't want to start my first game with a triple A, but I've been talking with some people. You know, the games have always interested me, but I know I don't have any expertise for it, right? So take G4AL, for example, right? The model that they have is they are great game developers, but the expertise is in performance marketing, which is my expertise, right? I've been doing that for the last 6 years, took a company to 150 million just on performance alone, right? No backend monetization was included in that. It's massive. But I don't know anything about games. So I've been talking with people, right, who have game studios. It's like, oh, they want to start a new one. I'm not really interested. I'm willing to hop on board. And just trying to figure out the model where I'm like, I don't want to release an Xe clone, right?
Yeah,
It makes no sense.
I think that's been done a few times
I
already.
wouldn't really want to do a shooter. I like the things like the mobile Clash of Clans type stuff, right? Which is still heavy on development, I would say, but the basic version doesn't have to be, right? It's quite a different approach where it's more about numbers and scale. The business side is very heavy, retention, and those are the things that I like. And the fucking game, couldn't give a fuck about, even if it's a pool game
That's
or
brilliant.
whatever.
Yeah,
What do you
fair.
think about the?
Well,
Because
that's a smart thing. I'll tell you this right now. Mobile gaming is a huge percentage. I think like my numbers might not be exact, but I refuse to Google it because I'm just stubborn. But I'm pretty sure we're worldwide. We've got somewhere in the vicinity of 3 to 3.2 billion gamers. Like that is almost half of the world's population, and a huge majority of those are on mobile devices, mobile games.
Which regions are they from? Is it Asia,
Globally.
Africa heavy,
That's global.
just
Is
a full
global.
spread?
That is, yeah. That those numbers are global. Although people in Southeast Asia and in developing nations they tend to be more on the mobile gaming side than West, where
Sure, makes
people
sense.
have consoles and PCs. But even then, I mean, I've got a way overpowered computer. I got a PlayStation 5 and I still play like mobile games every now and then. Although I play crosswords, but I'm a nerd. That's different.
What do you reckon
So,
when you say way overpowered? I know we're going off topic again, but it
oh
does
yeah.
interest me. So no, it's fine. It's fine. What does a way
computers don't
overpowered desktop
always have.
cost? Just the
Oh,
desktop case. What
the
does that cost?
case. The
Because
case
I,
costs nothing.
I
Case is like
bought one for my
$100.
dad because he's a huge World of Warcraft nerd, right? He plays that like 6
Ooh,
hours
my
a
guy.
day.
My guy.
And so I was like, okay, let me just call the company and see if I can get another one and get a discount. Just bought one for myself. Only turned it on once. It's like $6,000. I can send you the stack.
What?
Just the desktop. Yeah. But my
What do you
dad
have in
loves it.
there? An i9 9900,
I
GTX
don't know. It's
4080.
massive. It was
Wait,
like
when did you buy
it's
it?
heavy as well. I think like 6 months ago.
Okay, so it wasn't a 40 series. It'd be a
Yeah.
3090 in there
So
with that price.
it was like 6,000, and then I bought it on a
Liquid cooling.
company because my one is in my office. And then without the tax, it was like 4,200, something like this, including the discount.
Per
And
computer or for both?
yeah, per desktop, yeah. And they gave us like the keyboards with the lights and shit, and like a mouse. They throw all the shit in for free.
Full RGB.
Yeah.
You think it's
I
free,
can't
but you
stand
pay
it.
for it.
I can't stand it, mate. If I look at these lights, I'm like, man, even the thingy on the side, it is all glass basically, and they have like the spinners or the ventilators. It's all with the colors, and I'm like, bro, that's driving me
RGB.
mad. Board that shit up.
I'll send you a picture. I've got the same thing.
That's crazy.
You could turn the RGBs
crazy.
off. I mean, I'll be honest. You'd be
I only
surprised
turned it
how
on
little
once.
the case. Yeah, you'd be surprised how little the case and the fans and all that coloring. That doesn't cost much.
It looks cool though.
You can
I
get
can
a case
imagine
for like,
if I see
it
streams
looks
of people,
awesome.
then it looks great.
Yeah, they
you
always
have the lights.
their sick. Yeah, you have your sick. Yeah, some streamers they put their desktop out in the background so you can see, and it looks all like badass. And yeah, they always have the glass case so you can see inside the components. But honestly, that stuff isn't the expensive stuff. The hardware itself is expensive. What motherboard are you running in there? What CPU? GPU, so your graphics card, your CPU, your processor, Intel or AMD, your cooling system. So you probably want a more powerful cooling system with an AMD because they run hotter. But yeah, and with
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I figured maybe somebody in the audience knows.
You want to talk tokenomics, maybe?
Let's do it. Okay, so we were off topic because you were saying you want a governance token for each game. That's the
Mm,
last thing. Yeah. Right. So
yeah,
because that's a
that's what
cash
I
grab,
would
that
do.
makes you money. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes you money. But you are not holding those tokens. You're going to sell them. You're going to buy them, the governance tokens. As soon as that game
nah,
blows up, releases, you're probably going to sell them.
yeah.
I
So
I would,
the thing
and I'll
is,
tell you why.
the thing is, I wouldn't even sell tokens. I would sell SAFs, right? So basically, you just sell the
Standard.
future promise of basically what you do is you just raise the money, and then I wouldn't even consider the team tokens, that valuation, push it to the market maker later, all these things. I would just leave that out of the equation. That's still good money though, if the value goes up, right? I was just
Yeah.
talking, if a game raises like 2 to 5 million, then that's the money that you use to
That's
spend on the game, and the game is the asset, and the asset has value, and that's like equity value, right? So I wouldn't even think, like when I see these guys develop a game and then blow 70% of the budget on the team and 30% on development, you're a dickhead, right?
Yeah.
That's not what investments are about. The investments
Right.
are about delivering the product, delivering the value of the product, and that has to be done by the audience, right? So you still have to
Absolutely.
do the marketing and everything to get that going. But I understand, if you're raising money for a game right now, you release it next year, it takes at least 1 to 2 years to build traction, right? If you do it properly, it takes time.
Yeah.
But don't blow all your budget on the team and parties and whatever the fuck they're doing in crypto, blow it on the game. So obviously for one of the companies that I own, right, we raised quite a bit of money through NFTs. We blow 96% of all cost on developing 5 software platforms, right? That
That's
cost a
the
lot
way
of
it should
money.
be.
I didn't get paid. I worked for that company I'm still working for it, like part-time, but 14 months. 60 hours a week, and I didn't get paid a single dime. Obviously, the way the owner gets paid in the valuation of that company. So I own 100% of that company, and it's probably worth like $4-6 million, right? So I did make on paper, but that's the difference
It's not
between,
liquid, right?
yeah, it's illiquid. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I don't want to talk shit about like the general space, but I love to. I should be on Twitter more, like
Dude,
ranting.
just talk shit, man. That's all believe me when I say I am trying really hard to keep the filter on. And
Nah, no filters here.
you know
It's
me,
the
you
thing
know
with
me
like,
long enough and well enough to know that I have
yeah,
zero
but that's
filter.
what I
Like if
like
I
about
insult
you.
somebody,
We
I'm
can
gonna
just
insult them.
speak
Yeah.
honestly. That's how it is.
Yeah. So
I love these kids
perfect.
that are like
Okay.
19, 20 years old, start like crypto project, raise
Yeah.
a lot of money, but they just need guidance because they want to liquidate that cash as soon as possible
That's
towards a
it.
Lamborghini or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, they
Such
only
a
need
bad
to raise
investment.
like 250K and they're happy. And if you already are at that level as a entrepreneur, have more experience, and you're already making a comfortable living doing other things. You know, I own multiple businesses. I don't need to cash grab 100K, 200K,
Yeah.
right? Then you focus on the valuation because that's how wealth is built.
Right.
Like
So
Jeff
on
Bezos,
that topic,
one more thing.
yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
One more
Yeah, no,
thing. I
you
just
go
want to
ahead.
hit the home run here.
Yeah,
Jeff
you want to
Bezos
talk about Bezos? Maybe
doesn't
he'll hit us up.
own 600, 800 billion cash. That
No.
guy maybe has like 500 million cash, right? Still a fuck ton of money, maybe less.
Yeah. No,
Everything
it's
else
only
is
enough for
illiquid as
half of.
fuck.
It's only enough to buy half of like a Polynesia. That's all it is.
He's still a boss,
Yeah, he
right?
is. Same. I
Massive.
mean, same with Elon.
But
Elon became the first. Did you read the article the other day? The
yeah,
first person
200
in
billion,
history
right?
to lose $200 billion.
Yeah, I read
Like,
it
buddy,
yesterday.
most countries will never even see 200 billion as a GDP in Africa, right? Like your entire GDP isn't going to be 200 billion, and this homie just lost it topless sunbathing on a yacht.
Yeah, it's crazy. You go. I've been talking too much shit. What are you
No, it's
drinking? Is
perfect.
that blueberry Red Bull?
Yes, it's my
I don't like the
weakness.
one. I gave your sister the
You
white one. The white one is
you
the
don't like?
best one, but here it doesn't
I
taste as
like
good.
the white one. I love the blue one. I love blue. I do. I don't even know if I like it or if I just like the color blue. You see my car, it's blue. Like at this point, I'm not even sure if I enjoy blue flavors. I just like the color blue that I convince
I don't
myself
like
is
the
good.
Red Bull here that much. Tastes different. Probably comes from
Does it
like a
really?
different.
I'll be honest. I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever had Red Bull from
it's
Poland.
everything here is so much sweeter.
Yeah, that does sound right. Yeah, but I think I don't know. Besides the point, we're about to go off topic a little bit, like maybe because they have like a lot of products in other countries have like pork gelatin, and so they have to substitute it
Oh yeah,
here because it's a
Arab.
Muslim country. Yeah, Arab. We don't do pigs. We do everything but not pigs. Well, they do anyway. Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head when you said you want multiple governance tokens, and if the project does well, that's a cash grab. But you're talking about a big if. Most likely scenario when you do like an IEO and you're doing the tokens for an unregulated price like before it's out on like centralized exchanges and being traded on the secondary markets, you're probably always going to make profit no matter what, because it's always going to go up before it goes down, or it can't just go down like off the bat. It's got to go up and then down. Even if it happens in the span of 10 minutes, it's going to go up and down.
No, but
As soon
even you wouldn't even have to get listed, right? Because that's what were the like the SEFs that I was referring to before.
Oh yeah,
If you raise on a seed round 500K, right? These games at the moment have a valuation of less than 10 million, right? Pre-money. So in that case, you've raised maybe 1.5, 2 million, right? And I'm talking just about that money, because that money was gifted to them on a future promise of a game, right?
True.
And that is, I feel like, the pressure that they don't understand. So if you take money, it has a certain responsibility. Now they're just looking at it as free money.
Yeah, but that's because crypto has been free money for a while now.
Yeah,
like,
I guess. And that's why they have
like,
problems right now raising money, because they don't know how to do it and actually deliver value in a good proposition.
Because it was way too easy to raise money like 1 year ago, like last January, last November, or last April. It was so easy. Like not last April, 2021 April. I mean, I forget that it's 2023 now. It was so easy to raise money. Like I could like honestly, like a year and a half ago, I could probably go online, put up some fake, render or like a budget render and say, hey, I'm building a game. Look at my trailer. People will throw money at me. I'm not actually going to build this thing. I'm gonna take your money and be like, we failed. Bye. And that's what happened. How many I've seen like 8.
What do you think about the whole crypto zoo? I didn't follow it. The
I'll
Logan
be
Paul
honest, I didn't see
project,
it.
Jake Paul. No.
Oh, I read something
There was a
about it.
lot of drama
It's
about it.
Yeah, it was a pump and dump, wasn't it?
No, I think they never even built anything.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like most of the projects, to be honest. I like when I was with Unix, I spoke to like maybe 5 to 8 projects, different projects a day, and I think maybe 12 of them are still up today.
Only
So
12?
maybe.
But you
Like
can
for
imagine,
others just
look at
vanished.
Unix diversification. It's been massive, going
Right.
from B2C Scholar models on a rev share model all the way to B2B enterprise SDK. That's massive
Right.
change,
That's a
basically a
huge
full
change.
turnaround in the market.
Because they identified that their whole ethos was, Axie farming is profitable. Go. But you're literally just printing money. I mean, that is literally what inflation is. Look at Zimbabwe, like the best example of hyperinflation that the world has ever existed. They have a $50 trillion note, and that might buy you like 3 packs of gum.
$50
Like,
trillion.
you know what I mean?
Can you imagine?
I'm not
Everybody's a
even
trillionaire.
joking. There's a literal $50 trillion note.
Yeah, it's mad.
My friend has it on his fridge. I'm like, wow. And he's like, don't worry, it's worth like 10 dirhams. I'm like, oh, it's really nice.
But it looks cool.
It looks cool. Dude, if I had a $50 trillion note, I'd fucking tattoo that shit on me. I would just leave out the Zimbabwe part.
Yeah. Just leave out.
Just
Yeah.
leave the dollar, but just leave out the Zimbabwe.
Can you imagine if you're like a governor or like a royalty, you have to put your face on a $50 trillion note? It's like a straight embarrassment, mate. Dude. Fucked up the whole country. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you just pray. You're doing the same thing that all those lunatics were doing after the DPEG when Luna crashed.
Oh yeah.
When they printed trillions of Luna, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Hey,
I'm gonna buy billions, and then it'll go up to $80." I'm like, "Are you high?"
That's a good topic.
That's not how it works.
That's a good conversation for another day. Kareem, you'll be back here on the channel. I want to pick up what you just said about different games and different options, because you have different games that are interesting. Right. I want to know about it, but we'll save that for another day. Yeah. Has been quite insightful. Any last words?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think we ever actually closed any of the topics we were talking about.
It's all good. That's how it goes. But we got
that's
time.
Perfect. For part 2, I'll actually finish my sentence.
Yeah.
For part 2, I'll finish one of my sentences. Only one.
Before I cut you again.
Yeah.
And
you have to subscribe to my OnlyFans. You have to subscribe to my OnlyFans for the full thing.
Don't tempt me. Anyway, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thanks everybody for watching. If you want to check out Kareem's new channel, surprise, go check that out. Link in the description below, where it's all about gaming. Of course, if you want to focus on the money, stay with me right here, and we'll be back in the next one.
One note. Can I note, or have we already cut?
Nah, we're still going.
Okay, good.
It's my catchphrase, though. You ruined my catchphrase.
I did. Because I have the same thing. See you in the next one.
You stole
I'll
that
look
from
at the
me.
camera and point. No,
You've been watching
I
my videos too much.
I
That's
did
it.
that. I was doing that with Unix before I knew you. So I think we just great
Wow.
minds.
You know who gave advice on how to run the YouTube channel for Unix? Of course.
I'll be
C'est
honest.
moi.
I believe you.
But they didn't take my advice anyway.
They didn't give me any of it. I just did my own thing.
I know.
But one more thing. As an investor, you're looking for ROI. Who is spending money on the game? I'm not talking about pre-production. I'm talking about now the game is out. How does that game generate money with players?
This sounds like another 10-minute rant coming out.
No. It's 2 minutes.
The gamers, they're going to spend the money. Yeah.
So as an investor, you need to look at what gamers want because they're the ones who are going to make you the money.
100%. I agree.
And that has not happened in Web3. And that's the biggest weakness. Anyway, next time I'll finish my sentence.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I will see you, Kareem,
in the next one.